Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The Ulan mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a Ulan fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Tibbs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, it's homecoming week. Do you have your corsage and your dress ready?
My mom? Corsage? You mean mom? You're Southern. You should know that. Isn't a corsage what you wear at a wedding?
I had never heard of a mum until I came to Texas. And the first time I saw one, I was like, what are these girls doing trying to imitate Flava Flav?
What a wild draw. No, I'm excited, Tibbs. I think you see a lot of people getting pumped up on the internet. I tried to make a reservation today at 2 different restaurants and they were full. So maybe that's encouraging. I'm really excited for this.
You can make a reservation at Chick-fil-A?
You can make a reservation at Parrish or Cotton. Well, you can't for Friday. Fun fact. So good luck.
Are you going to be in town Friday?
I will be in town Friday. Yes, sir.
For
Heading
lunch?
In for no lunch, unfortunately.
1 o'clock?
I can't get there till about 5 or 6.
Well, there goes my invitation that I was going to extend to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you can pay for lunch on Saturday.
No, thank you.
Okay.
We have even better than me buying you lunch, Chase. We get free rice.
As I just learned, yeah.
It's the Rice Bowl against Arkansas State. And what are your thoughts of that initially there, Chase? When you saw the announcement come out, what were your thoughts on the Rice Bowl?
I totally, until about 10 minutes ago, this is not a joke, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like an Onion article written that I just passed by on Reddit, and then I saw it on Facebook. And I thought, oh, that's funny. I don't understand why. I guess both regions do produce rice, but I don't. And then you made me read an article before this podcast, and I realized, oh shit, this is a real thing.
What would you have rather called it? Did you want to go back to the Indian?
But there was a name for it though.
The Trail of Tears, yeah.
The trail. Rough. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, never mind. The Rice Bowl is awesome, dude. I take all that back. The Rice Bowl is great. I think it's a great celebration of a progressive future.
That's the most politically correct spin.
Yeah, I'm staying
I've
away
ever
from
had.
Trail of Tears. I promise you that.
So we bring in our Arkansas State expert because Jeremy is off flying the country, dropping children off of planes or something like that. So we bring in Kara Richey. Kara, welcome to the show and all of our antics that we have.
I'm the backup plan.
Yeah. Oh shit! That he did make it sound that way, Kara. That was terrible, Tibbs.
It was like I went to Jeremy, of course, because he's on with Fun Belt for us, and he said, "I'm going to be flying. You should just call Kara." So you can kind of blame Harper, especially since he's not here.
I am the backup plan.
Dude, that's bad. Kara, you're not my backup plan.
All right, so fun fact. Fun fact. I'm going to change the conversation before I end up in my feelings. Jonesboro, Arkansas, in Northeast Arkansas, huge producer of rice. Jonesboro has the world's largest rice mill in the city. It's called Riceland Foods. So there are worse things that this game could be called than the Rice Bowl.
Yeah, but your chuckle tells me, Gary, that I mean, seriously, why Monroe and not against Lafayette? That is the heart of Acadiana that definitely has the perception of being there.
I mean, that's a y'all question.
I asked the person from Arkansas.
I don't know about like Louisiana rice production and how it's going to break down by parish or whatever. Like, that's y'all. That's a discussion on your end. I can tell you why Jonesboro and Arkansas State are involved. I cannot answer the ULM part of the equation.
I'm just going to say, for the record, that I'm not going to click on usarice.com because we've already gone too far down a rabbit hole that I never imagined myself going down.
You didn't even read the press release?
I thought it was a joke until you guys made me read the article. I really thought it was a joke. I thought it was the Onion. I had no clue that it was.
The United States Rice Growers Association does not joke like that.
I've learned in all respects to the Rice people and the people of Rice. And thank you for hosting a
Rice not playing in this game.
Oh, come on. That's an oversimplification of that institution. I don't think that's fair. All right, fine.
I'll stop interrupting.
I never thought that I would have, Chase, when we talk about food, I never thought that we would have an episode dedicated to rice.
Yeah, we're deep into rice talk here, and if you like this tantalizing radio, make sure to follow and subscribe.
So, quick question, so we can just completely derail this and never actually get on track. Is
Sure.
McNeese and Central Arkansas the Red Beans and Rice Bowl?
I didn't know that, but that's pretty awesome.
No, you're gonna have to wait. You're asking, is it, or you're telling me it is?
I don't. Both.
Wait, why would Central Arkansas be Red Beans?
If Jonesboro, no,
it would
other way around. Central Arkansas would be the rice, and the three-eyed fish you can make beans out of the Calcasieu River.
Huh.
You've lost, Chase. He doesn't know geography.
I got no clue. I'm sorry, Kara. I'm sure that hit, but I got no clue.
The last thing I have about this, do we know what the trophy looks like? Is there going to be a trophy, or is this just a simple bag of rice that's thrown back and forth?
That's a really good question. I will tell you that Arkansas State's longest running rivalry game is the Paint Bucket Bowl against Memphis, or the Paint Bucket game. And sadly, that trophy is exactly what it sounds like, and therefore is just a random can of paint that has actually mysteriously been misplaced since like the 60s. So I don't know if I have high hopes for any like swanky trophies when it comes to Arkansas State football and rivalry games.
But it can't just be like a single piece of rice, right? Because I'm sure USA Rice is all inclusive, and they're not just going to go enrich long grain white rice. You know, you got to be inclusive of the jasmine, the brown rice, etc. So I don't know how you get around those politics surrounding the rice world.
I mean, it can't just be a grain of rice that would be so easily misplaced, and then somebody would lose it, and then somebody else would get like a replica rice, and then we would never know if it was the authentic rice or not.
Sure. Sure.
Anyways, yes, UCA and McNeese is the Red Beans and Rice Bowl.
Well, more importantly, before we figure out about a trophy about this, we got to play the game. 2:00 game in Malone Stadium. Warhawks sitting at 2-1. Arkansas State 1-3. Kara, what have we learned about this Arkansas State team other than they might be better than the record indicates? Because yes, their only win is FCS Southeast Missouri, but the last 2 games, it's really been one possession that was the difference.
We have learned thus far that unfortunately this team has not been able to get off to very good starts, and it has kind of sabotaged them in a couple of different ways. That was big time the case last Saturday at Kennesaw State, because if you look at that final score, it looks respectable. It's 28-21, and you look at that and you're like, oh, maybe this was a back and forth battle. No. A-State trailed 21-0, 9 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. And it was just like, if there could be a misplay, there was. And it was frustrating because A-State started poorly on offense. A-State started poorly on defense. And A-State also started poorly on special teams. And while we've seen maybe a little dashes of the first 2, we haven't seen A-State have a really bad special teams performance yet until Saturday. So it was kind of just a big letdown all around, especially when you compare and contrast it to the previous week where A-State hung with 60 full minutes with very, very little letdown against the number 14 team in the nation. So you have 1 week where you are competitive, you are locked in, 1 or 2 plays here or there, and you end up getting a huge upset win. To go from that to playing a team that was playing in their 15th, 16th game at the FBS level and getting punched in the mouth 21-0 at the beginning, it was really frustrating. And again, the slow starts are a big part of it. I think A-State has been outscored, I've noted somewhere 65-14 thus far this season in the first quarter. So unfortunately, one of the things that I've learned about this team right now is that they've got to figure out a way to start these games different, whether it's something on game day, whether it's something leading up to Saturdays throughout the week. Just something's got to change, because that has not been good enough to get A-State in the win column when you are in that much of a deficit after the first 15 minutes.
In that opener, or in that game against the Owls, though, was that a case of maybe overlooking Kennesaw State because they're such a young program? I think they won 1 game last year. What was it, that kind of case, or do you think that it was just they shot themselves in the foot that much regardless who they were playing?
It could have been both. I mean, look, the Owls do not look very impressive on paper, but, people should know better, because the very first game they won as an FCS game, or excuse me, as an FBS team, was last year against Liberty. They were somewhere in the neighborhood of 24.5, 25-point underdogs, and they pulled off the upset. And it was a big story, because here's this school that is the youngest school in FBS period, or the youngest football program, in FBS period. They played football for a decade. They pulled off this huge upset last week. Also, not that there's a ton of players left on this A-State roster from 2024, but A-State started the 2024 season by not playing well against an FCS team and almost got themselves beat. So you would hope that they would know better than to overlook opponents that don't necessarily have the big brand or the big star ratings for their players. But was that part of it? I mean, quite possibly. It also was just bad play. We mentioned the special teams thing. Offensively, A-State just could not really get it going in any way, shape, or form. I can't remember how many 3-and-outs there were in the first quarter, but I think it was maybe 2 3-and-outs and then an additional drive that was 5 plays or shorter. So the offense was struggling to really get it together. And then the defense, there were kind of 2 notes on Kennesaw State coming into that game. One was that they were going to go tempo as soon as they got a first down. And the other one was that they were going to take shots. So what did they do? They got a first down. They sped it up. 2 plays later, it was a 54-yard bomb. And there was nobody there for A-State to cover. So it was a huge defensive bust. So to give you a really long answer to your question, C, all of the above.
I want to dive deeper. I didn't have this happening to A-State in my in any prediction that I ever made about your football program this year. You had Rayner coming back. I think everybody really liked him, and I personally am a fan of the way he plays. And I thought that with him at the helm, that this would really be, a year for them to continue to make some steps, as we've seen in the past. Them kind of Arkansas State recover, and really do some great things in the conference and outside the conference as well. In your opinion, offensively, what's gone wrong for them?
So there's a few different things. One, there are 5 new starters on the offensive line. And anytime you are replacing an entire unit, especially one that is that crucial to your play, there's going to be some growing pains. I don't think that unit has been bad, but I think they are trying to be a little bit more consistent up front. So that's one thing that maybe has led to this offense not being, rolling right out of the gate. Another thing is that this team does miss Jaquez Cross. He was going to be Arkansas State starting running back, and he was for game 1, but unfortunately, after game 1, just a couple days later, he tore his ACL in practice, so he's out for the season. And going back to the preseason, one of the things we saw a lot with this team is that they were going to the running back a lot in the pass game. So there's still some capabilities there with Kenyon Clay to make those receptions, and Devin Spencer can do that. But Jaquez Cross was the best of those guys in that aspect. He had also really grown a lot as a guy they could use in terms of pass protection. So he is missed, and he is obviously ACL. It's out for the season, so that's part of it. There was also going to be, I think A-State was going to maybe try and sprinkle in some more 2 tight end sets and do some different things in that aspect. And one of the starting tight ends, Tyler Little, jogged off the field after the first play against Arkansas, which was week 2, and has not been back on the field yet. And he is listed as, we'll pull up that injury designation here in just a moment. But he, I can't remember if he is. He's listed as doubtful for Saturday. So it's a little bit just trying to get a lot of newcomers to gel together. It's a little bit of trying to navigate some injuries right out of the gate. And it hasn't quite clicked yet for this offense on a consistent level.
I just want to say that any offense that has a man hated by the ULM fan base named Corey Rucker against ULM for some reason is going to do well. I know you can have your reservations or your doubts about Saturday if you're an A-State fan, but I'm just, every time I see his name for like the 8th year in a row, I'm just like, Jesus, this guy's still playing college football.
A-State had to deal with that for a few years with Jalen Tolbert at South Alabama. And of course, Tolbert is now with the Cowboys, and they're on in this part of the country all the time. And it's just like freaking PTSD, because that dude was absolutely a monster against Arkansas State. But yes, Corey Rucker has been a monster against ULM. When you start, when your very first performance against a team goes for 300 plus yards and sets like a new NCAA freshman record, the numbers are going to be pretty absurd. I'm really intrigued by Corey Rucker this weekend because he has not really got going yet. He has not necessarily had the stats this season that maybe we thought he would have. Now, because of that, he's also been covered like nobody else, right? Like, he is the one player that everybody on opposing defenses is really locked in on. And so because of that, just one touchdown, his catches aren't as high as you might think. His receiving yards aren't as high as maybe you would have thought at the beginning of the season at this point in time. But I spoke with another one of A-State's wide receivers tonight, and Hunter Summers, and Hunter Summers had a career 8 catches, 114 yards in that Kennesaw State game. And he said, look, part of it is my connection with Jalen Rayner, but part of the reason that I put up those numbers was because of Corey Rucker, because when he is always covered, that means that somebody else is open, and Hunter Summers was able to take advantage of that. But I am hoping that, Corey Rucker just sees the ULM logo Saturday and just immediately gets locked in and just does what Corey Rucker does against the Warhawks.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde from this guy.
What?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, we've got his career stats. Sorry, Tibbs. His career stats, a hefty percentage of them are against ULM. And for some reason, he's got a cool name. It just irks me nowadays. I'm sorry.
It's something
I'm sure he's a wonderful guy.
It's something like 20% of his career yardage came in those games came in his 5 games against ULM.
It's brutal.
Well, and he's special in his own right? Like, yeah. It's not just the ULM game. He's within 400 yards of being right up there with one of the greatest receivers in the league, of T.Y. Hilton. And so definitely don't want to take anything away from that. But do you feel that he is the potential difference maker of this game, or do you feel that it's going to be Arkansas State's defense and just kind of having to contain that running game that ULM has?
I mean, again, see all of the above. A-State needs something to spark the offense. They do, because there's been times where it's clicked and it's gone well, and A-State has been able to move the ball, but A-State right now is kind of lacking in terms of the explosive plays. And that is certainly something that Corey Rucker could help out with a lot. At the same time, I don't know if my heart can take like a 68-50 showdown on Saturday. So I'm certainly hoping that Arkansas State can figure out some things with its defense, because it's been a little porous thus far. And I will be honest that I am extremely concerned with ULM's ability to run the ball. So it's both of those are going to be big factors in how this one unfolds. And
we're concerned about ULM's ability to cover passes. So it looks like this may be I probably don't think maybe not that high of a shootout, but I definitely could see this either being one or two. It's going to be a 40-42 ball game, or it's going to be 7-14, and we're all going to want to cry about the awful football game that we just watched.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. No middle ground, something where you literally cannot get your pulse to slow down, or something where you literally have to slap yourself to stay awake.
We were talking about the long streak there before you joined in, Chase, the 2017 game where Arkansas State had 781 yards of offense, ULM 590 yards of offense. Each quarterback had 4 touchdowns, but Caleb Evans had 3 interceptions. That really was the big difference in the 67-50 game. I hope you were hammering the over.
You talk about Corey Rucker and how he is a little bit traumatizing to ULM. I am forever traumatized by Marcus Green. I am pretty sure that what Marcus Green did in that game is still a Sun Belt record in terms of all-purpose yards. I don't remember his exact numbers, but he went off for over 400 all-purpose yards in that game. He had either a kickoff return touchdown or a punt return touchdown, and then he was just everywhere, all over every other play with 1 million yards. And it was stupid. I mean, 400 plus yards for anybody in any aspect, all purpose, is just insane. And I'm going to have to check and see if that's still, now that I've re-traumatized myself, I'm going to have to check and see if that is still a Sun Belt record.
That's Mr. All-American. I'm just glad to hear somebody be afraid of him. He was a dangerous player. Loved Marcus to death. He was a good teammate. I want to know, you mentioned special teams not, and this is going to make Tibbs happy because he's a super big special teams guy, and I'm not, if I'm being honest, Kara, I'm sorry. But you mentioned them not being – you kind of used some weird language that I want to point out. You said that they were not the problem until Kennesaw State. What happened at Kennesaw State? So Butch Jones is very big on like the special teams, right? Like they practice it a lot. They have like all of the rankings in terms of where A-State ranks in kickoff return defense, kickoff punt return defense, punt return. Like they've got those like plastered up in the building. Like this is a team that values its special teams, and more often than not that shows. And we saw in week 2 with Arkansas State getting a kickoff return touchdown. We saw it in if you just look through like hidden yardage, seeing where a team starts after its opposition kicks off. Like A-State has done very well with that. Well, looking at Saturday against Kennesaw State, on the very first kickoff return, it started with a hold. So that moves you from the 25 to 15 on A-State's first punt. Maybe I'm trying to remember one of the either the first or second punt, they give up a 40+ yard return. There were a couple of punts that A-State had. Well, there was one in particular that went for -2 yards. Typically, I kind of look at the 25 as being at the bare minimum of where your drive should start after a kickoff, because of course, if you fair catch it, that's where you're starting. And A-State has been very good about having plus yardage on kickoff return. But in this game, there was I mentioned the hold. It started at the 15. There was another drive that started after kickoff return on the 19. There was a kickoff return by Kennesaw State that included a targeting, or maybe it was a punt return. I don't remember what it was. There were just like penalty or mistake or this, that, and the other. And it was not just, it'd be great if you could just blame like one unit of special teams on Saturday, but it was
it was several miscues just all over for everybody, unfortunately.
Special teams are people, Chase.
Specialists are people too, man. Punters are people too.
No.
We have this conversation every episode there, Kara, that he doesn't do baseball and he doesn't believe that special teams are important.
I'm sorry, Kara. I'm sure that hurts your heart, but baseball is a boring sport to watch. Missed my generation, and specialists just mess up football games. Thank you.
You see what I got to deal with, Kara?
I'm a little speechless. I am missing the conversations about the Rice Bowl right about now because I don't know, like how to go about my rebuttal here as both a diehard baseball fan and then also somebody that believes that like a kickoff return is one of the most hyped moments you can have in a football game, or a kickoff return touchdown. So I feel like maybe we should just move on.
I agree there. No, I agree that a kickoff return for a touchdown, punt return for a touchdown, blast, punt block is very cool.
I mean, you realize those are special teams units on the field when those plays occur.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in a general sense, we should just put the offense at the 25 and we should just go.
So I will tell you my main rebuttal to this. The parents of specialists are the most hilarious and awesome parents, football parents, that you're ever going to run into. They're my faves. Like, it hands down, out of all the parents that I've encountered, like, if you're looking at parents that raise the bar on other position group parents, it is the specialist parents. It's awesome.
Well, we had a long snapper, and I won't mention his name because I forgot it. And his mother, every single time he would run on the field, would just scream, "Go, baby! Go! Go, baby!" And then we finally figured out who it was, because who the hell screams during this moment in the game? It was a long snapper's mother, and I've just never been so disappointed in somebody's parents, but I 100% agree. And I think it's cool, as you go. I like the way the NFL has changed the kickoff. I'm a fan of that, and I think it's obviously gives a roster spot some guys. You see some real athletes out there. But we have been bogged down in this conversation. Tibbs, please save us.
Well, I mean, we're just delaying the inevitable. So I'll rip the Band-Aid off there, Chase. Carrot's 15 years. 15. That's like a teenager coming up on graduating high school. There have been presidents that have come and gone. There have been of the U.S. and obviously of the university. Is that as big of a deal in Jonesboro as it is in Monroe? More so of they can't beat us 10 years in a row. They can't beat us 11 and then 12 and on and on and on.
I feel like it should be, right? I feel like A-State should take pride in this streak and be protective of this streak. I hope there is some conversation today around that locker room about this streak, because I know there's conversation about this streak going on with Bryant Vincent and his guys. So they're leaning into, hey, we need to do everything we can in Monroe to stop this streak. So I hope A-State is doing everything they can to lean into, hey, we need to make sure this keeps going. We cannot be the group that has this streak come to an end under our watch. Now, again, are those conversations happening? I don't know, but I actually would like to go back on campus and try and listen in and like make sure, because it's important. It's important to the fans, right? Sometimes when you've got a ton of newcomers and everybody is maybe unfamiliar with program history and series history and things like that, maybe it doesn't really sink in with these players, but it is important to the fans. And so you hope that somebody is letting the players know, so it will be important to them as well.
It's all we talk about for like months, Kara, is about how is this going to be the year? And then what kills me, Vegas came out and were favored, and that's never a good thing in Monroe. don't want to be favored. We like being the underdogs. We're the underdog. What? You can tell me we're not favored?
No. You're favored. You're favored. So I saw this kind of scroll by, I guess, on Twitter, and I did not research it. So I apologize for bringing up something that might be totally wrong. But I did see a tweet that said not only has Arkansas State won this game for 15 straight years, but they've covered for 15 straight years. So I don't know. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is my research for tomorrow to find out. I've only got scores and lines back to like 2012, so I can't answer that. But that's the next research.
I was told we haven't been favored in this game in 20 years, and again, that's without research. So if you could look that up, I'm sure that's not true. As we had some good teams
in 2023
in 05. Oh well, thanks.
It was just by a point, but ULM was favored by a point in 2023, and you guys, I think, were favored in 2021 as well. 2021 by 3. So this is the third time you've been favored this decade.
Yeah, we're so privileged, Kara. Thank you so much.
I mean, I thought we were just.
Dude, she digs deep. I'm telling you. I mean,
she dropped the D word on us.
Look,
decade.
Man.
I know this is audio only, so your listeners can't see it, but I'm a total nerd, and every single year I print off these Sunbelt helmet schedules, and I go through and I always write the lines on the games, and I always go through and write the final scores, and they're color-coded, and they're totally nerdy and all of this. Well, they go back to 2012, so I've got those in front of me, so I had them on hand, just in case.
Yeah, well.
So, Kara, we get to hang out in New Orleans for Sunbelt Media Days, and every year there's always a lot of great hype around the league. What are we going to do? There just has not been that marquee win for the Sunbelt this year. Is it just a down year for the league?
It might be. And again, here's another tweet that I saw that I didn't research at all that I'll throw out. But I think I saw somebody say something along the lines of like no league lost more to power programs in terms of transfers than the Sun Belt. And, you certainly think about that spring portal where South Alabama got raided, and you think about, I know A-State lost a handful of guys. I'm sure ULM lost some guys. Everybody's losing guys, right? So when you've got all these players in here that are newcomers, it's always going to take everybody a little bit to gel. Well, by the time you gel, you're in conference play, and then everybody is beating each other up, and the chance for those marquee wins are gone. But I guess the marquee win thus far would be what? Old Dominion over Virginia Tech. But you look around at this league right now, and almost everybody is wrapped up.
over Liberty, maybe?
Yeah, JMU.
I'd say that Virginia Tech.
I mean, I think you get a bonus point if you get them to fire their coach immediately after you beat them. Like that should get
very true.
That's you get the win and you get a little bonus point since they launched their coach into the sun as soon as that game was final. But that would be the one that kind of stands out to me. But there are still, I think, 4 programs in the league right now whose only win is against an FCS opponent, and that includes Arkansas State.
Yeah, that's rough when you hear that.
You want to talk
because
about
the Cajuns are in the same boat. I think South Alabama's in the same boat.
Yeah.
Georgia State is, because their only win is over Murray State.
No, the best win of the year, Kara, is ULM beating UTEP, dude. Going out to El Paso, slapping some guys around.
Yeah,
got to be the best non-conference win. Kara, you talk about losing people to the portal, and I just want to point out that ULM lost the SEC's leading rusher thus far.
Yeah.
That's already 600 yards there at Missouri. Shout out to Ahmad.
Yeah, I love seeing all the post on Twitter that's like, say his name. Everybody's learning about Ahmad Hardy. I was like, I knew. Like, I already knew. Trust me. Yeah. We knew. But I am kind of curious, everybody wants to talk about him now. Where were all of these power programs when he was getting recruited? Why can you guys not actually scout talent? Why do you now rely on the group of 6 to do that for you? Anyways.
I know you're from Arkansas, but going down the backwoods Mississippi might be a little rough from where he's from.
If you can play, people will find you. And Ahmad Hardy clearly can play his ass off. So that's always going to be one of those things you look back on and just be like, how did he have a single solid. There are 136 FBS programs. How did only one of them think he was worthy of a scholarship?
Already lead the nation broken tackles again.
Yeah.
So we always have story time on here, Kara, and here's your story time about Ahmad Hardy. When I talked with Brian Vincent about him, it was ULM and Colin Community College were his two offers. And Colin was leading ULM because that's where his dad played. And dad was like, you're going to follow in my footsteps. I don't care if it's a D1 program. And
Colin's good, though. But
it is. But JUCO, Mississippi JUCO versus going D1 FBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
It took selling dad to come to the Bayou in Monroe.
You wonder if he had gone that route. I mean, he would have had opportunities, but I'm guessing, one of the things that really got him, I would assume, on the radar last year were some of the games that ULM played in non-conference. I mean, what did he do at Auburn? Was that a game where he had a big game and people started?
He might have touched 100 yards in it.
Okay,
but it wasn't anything too big.
Yeah, we ran him. We're going to run him 35 times a game. I think we did the same thing at Auburn. I mean, he wasn't. It didn't matter who was in front of him. He was going to break tackles, and he was crazy, and really, he only had 60 rushing yards on 15 carries. But of course, he's going to score.
But so you play, whether it's deserved or not, you go out and you have a decent performance in a game against a power opponent. That's a lot of times going to generate more conversation than the same performance against a Sun Belt team. So that was possibly a game where people looked at that and they're like, oh, we got to get Ahmad Hardy out of Monroe.
I've really been surprised Jalen Rayner stayed as long as he has at Arkansas State. I really thought that he was going to be able to get some looks outside of the Sun Belt as well.
There's no doubt that people have called, and also just he's a little bit of an outlier geographically. Not that he's from a million miles away, not that he's like a dude from Alaska, but a lot of the A-State recruiting footprint is Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, if you're going east. But he's a North Carolina guy, and there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 Division I schools that are within about 400 miles of his hometown. So you thought that. My concern was that somebody close to home would get him, and that it would be a better fit for his family. But he's still at A-State, and I am very, very thankful for that. Jalen Rayner is a good kid, man. He's enjoyable to talk to. He looks like a freaking toothpaste ad, just that big smile and that really, really personable guy. So I enjoyed talking with him a lot, and I'm certainly glad he's here for his third year.
Well, I'm known for, or I've known myself for calling a lot of these players ugly. Okay, because there's some ugly dudes in FBS, and I got to give it to Rayner, not an ugly guy.
Is this how you classify players that ULM is taking on? Is it Uggo versus like non-Uggo?
Oh no, I'll call ULM players ugly too, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, anybody can. That's a fair assessment versus on
There's no star rating. There's ugliness ratings with Chase.
Yeah. If somebody like yourself, if you had pulled up, I'm not going to pull up A-State's roster, but if you had pulled up somebody else and they were ugly, I'd be like, wow, that's pretty great. They have great stats. That kid's ugly as sin, and he really needs to go see an orthodontist or something like that. But not that way about Rayner. Good-looking kid. Hope he does well. Actually, I hope he does well next Saturday. No offense.
Keys to the game there, Kara. What do you think it takes for Arkansas State to go 16? What do you think it takes for ULM to snap the streak?
Arkansas State has to start fast, full stop. Again, mention the fact that, and I'm going to go back to this number again because it is so glaring. A-State has been outscored 65-14 in the first quarter this season. And what's wild about the slow starts is that it's spelled doom and gloom throughout the Butch Jones era. When A-State trails after the first quarter in the Butch Jones era, the team is 1-28. So they're not able to come back from these slow starts. But when A-State leads after the first quarter in the Butch Jones era, they are 16-2. So you look at that massive discrepancy in wins when A-State is leading versus trailing after one. And I don't know if there's anything more important than just being able to get off to a better start. Now, that encompasses offense, defense, and special teams. So it's easier said than done, but that is the biggest thing to me. And then also, get stops, win the explosive play battle, come out on top of the turnover numbers, the basic stuff. Yeah. So let me throw out some cliches and have, if A-State does that, they'll win. But again, it has to be a better start. And there are other things, this team has beat itself up a little bit. This team has managed to commit a penalty in the red zone every single game this season. Certainly some things it needs to clean up there, more explosive plays. I think A-State has given up more plays of 30 yards or more than anybody in the country. So they've got to find a way to limit those, get off the field on third down. But again, a lot of these are just the cliche, basic, this is how you win a football game type things that I'm speaking. So I'm going to hammer the get off to a better start than they have so far this season.
Just like she's hammering probably Arkansas State's points and the over.
Yeah.
I'm not a good gambler, so
that's how she's hammered us with facts this pod. It's been rough, dude.
Do we need to go back and look through all 15 games in this streak and see if A-State has?
Please don't. I played in 3 of them. Please don't do that. 2 of them. Please don't do that.
No, thank you.
I do have historic lines somewhere in my desk in my office. I just don't have them handy, and I apologize for not being fully prepared.
No, I'm grateful you didn't fully prepare for it, to be honest.
Kara did not strike me as the one that breaks out the big 6-inch binder. But now that I know it, I expect to see it next year at Media Days.
You've never seen these before? I have these every Media Day.
Oh.
I lean in to the nerdiness. Like, give me a pack of highlighters and some helmet schedules and a couple of statistical printouts, and I'm going to have a great time.
No, I think you're just a professional. I appreciate that. Wrong pod, but I really appreciate it.
I mean, we can do this again the next time Harper bails on you guys, and I can be another backup plan, and I can just be completely off the rails. I'll start drinking next time before we go on air, and we can go in a different direction.
That always enhances shows. I learned that a long time ago. And Kara, I apologize for making you think you're the backup plan. That was never the intention.
I mean, it's not that you made me think it, it's that it's an actual fact.
Yeah, it's that you explained it as you introduced her. That's what,
On
right,
that note.
On that Kara, note, I guess you're kicking me out. I need a favor from you guys, though.
What can we do for you?
We have to figure out some kind of Rice Bowl trophy award thing, and we've got to do it before Saturday. Like the clock is ticking here. The timing is limited. The resources are limited. And I just feel like if we put our heads together, somehow we can come up with some kind of epic answer for this. But, something between like a 500-pound bag of rice and like 1 grain of rice. It's got to be the happy medium between those two.
I think it's the rice cooker like Grandma used to have on the counter.
Okay.
Yeah, I love a good rice cooker.
And it has loose rice in it, but it's sealed. So, I mean, you can't like shake it out, but you can shake it and kind of hear it rattle around. And in the rice, so if you shake it enough, is like a Red Wolf little figurine and a Warhawk plane.
So like a rice snow globe, a rice cooker snow globe.
Yeah.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah, these sound like awful ideas. Yeah.
Well, the other thought I had, but you said, we're tight on time.
We are.
Crystallize a grain of rice. I mean, like, big, like a football size. And then we have like our own championship trophy where we get to hoist the crystal ball or crystal rice, just like, they would with the old Sears trophy for the national title.
Yeah, that's doable.
I wonder, and I'm sorry for bringing it here. How phallic would that look?
Yeah, extremely.
Right? So I think we can't do a brain fries. I think we got to do a.
It's gonna have to be a bag. We need to go back to the bag.
Like what does the mascot look like? You get what I'm saying? I don't get where. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna excuse myself from conversation. Thank you to the USA Department of Rice or whatever that company's called.
USA.
I don't know. Thank you so much for your sponsorship and interest in our game.
Kara, where can people find more of your work and your great hilarity?
I don't know about hilarity. I spend way too much time on Twitter. It's embarrassing. At Kara_Richey is the place to find me online. I am on air on the Ticket Radio Network every Monday through Friday from noon to 2. You can follow along at 953theticket.com. And then I am also on air on game days on both 107.9 KFINE and the EAB Red Sports Network. And that is like a novel's worth of places to find me. So just go to Twitter.
Are we able to call in post game? We'll call you from the show. And if we actually get the win, we'll heckle.
So here's the deal. Unfortunately, when A-State is playing on the road, I do all of my game day duties prior to kickoff, so I do not have a post-game show on Saturday. However, on Monday, if this streak is no more for Arkansas State, you can dial up 870-930-3776. That is the number to call on the ticket hotline, and you can get out that 15 years worth of frustration.
That's probably not air appropriate, by the way.
Please don't make me cry.